very honest and straightforward. Kasi napakalinaw ng inyong paninindigan na you unite sa mga 3 or 4 pastors na na-ahead sa iyo na sila ay naninindigan na ipagtanggol ang inyong simbahan at misyon ninyo sa sangkatauhan, hindi para gamitin ng CPP, NPA, NTF ang inyong church ministry and church institution. Were you able also to become recruited? Or did the CPP, NPA, NTF connected with you? Or did they also have any connections with you personally or organizationally or program-wise? Ano po naging connection nyo sa kanila?
Hello, Rick. I was enrolled at Silliman University in the 70s at the height of activism, and also enrolled at the graduate school in UP also in the 70s. But I never had any connection with the communist group.
Okay.
But when I was assigned to Tacloban, when I was teaching at the college, a certain pastor, Reverend Bersero, who claimed to be a representative of a group, it invited me to be a consultant of an organization which he refuses to identify, and which I suspected is an underground movement, so I refused to participate. So really, in my 78 years of existence, I've never been a part of that movement.
But you were personally aware among your co-pastors and co-workers in the church na mayroong mga elemento mula sa inyo na na-convert at na-recruit ng CPP, NPA, NTF, acting also as pastors or program coordinators within the church.
This is where I would like to share with you my experience with my brother, Bishop Benjamin Barloso. You know, I came from a family of pastors, and our family produced 20 pastors, 3 bishops. Wow. And I think we are the only family in the entire UCCP church in the entire Philippines who have produced so many pastors.
20 pastors.
And it's unfortunate that some members of our family are at both sides of the aisles. But the reason I am here is that I would like to share with you my experience at the burial of my brother, because it will really show us the extent to which the Communist Party has infiltrated the church.
Claro.
My brother was the bishop of Northwest Mindanao jurisdictional area based in Cagayan de Oro City.
Okay.
And since he suffered a heart stroke, he retired at Shalom Hotel at Malati, where his wife was the hotel manager.
Okay.
And then I visited him a week before he died. But upon reaching Catbalogan, I received a call from the wife that he again had a stroke. And he was critically ill at Manila Doctor's Hospital. So I immediately went to Manila, and I arrived the day before he died. And then when the family decided to take the body to Midsayap, I asked that I should first return to my church in Catbalogan and follow them in Midsayap. And so I was there the day before the burial. And the following day, during the necrological service, this is the notorious necrological service which became controversial.
Why?
Because they administered an NTF right which did not get the permission of the local church.
Again.
So the local
Again,
church made a protest.
Pastor, i-break ka namin sa necrological services ni Bishop Barloso na kapatid mo na ginawa sa Medsayap, ang NDF, National Democratic Front, which is an allied and led organization by the Communist Party at sumusuporta sa NPA, nagsagawa ng seremonya sa burol ng inyong kapatid. Okay. Bakit?
Which I did not really realize until I attended the burial itself. Because in the burial, it was a limited group. And in that small group, during the burial, they conducted an alay, or a kind of a celebration. And many of those who attended the necrological services, some young people, finally admitted in that ally that they were youth representatives from the National Democratic Front. And during the celebration, there was a liturgist, and some of those who attended were asked to talk. And the first one to talk was a cousin of mine, Reverend Reuben Hinotiva, who at the time was the chaplain of the Southern Christian College in Midsayat. And he was very emotional when he recalled his experience of how my brother was instrumental in bringing him to the movement.
Nirecruit ng kapatid niya.
Recruit siya.
Ng kapatid.
And then this was followed by some youth representatives who attended the necrological service in the church in Midsayat, but who introduced themselves in that small group in the burial site as representatives of NTF.
Ayun.
And then the others. But I would like to mention the talk of Bishop Reuel Marinsa, who was then our General Secretary of the United Church of Christ in the Philippines, who also was the one who delivered the sermon during the necrological service in the church. And let me, as much as possible, say it as verbatim as I could.
Go.
Because this will really clearly show how much the extent to which we have been infiltrated. He started by saying, pointing to the half-buried body remains of my brother, and said that looking at the bodily remains of Bishop Ben Barloso, we should be ashamed of ourselves because he suffered physical incapacity, but he never wavered in his commitment to the movement.
So grabe, kinonfirm talaga.
And then he said that many of us here have heard the name Prophet Isaiah and Prophet Moses. Nobody knows who he is. And then he pointed to my brother. He is Prophet Isaiah, Prophet Moses of the movement.
Grabe.
And then he said, I am a
Information
regular paying member of the movement. Mrs. Barloso is a regular paying member of the movement.
Grabe. Pati ang asawa ni
And
Bishop.
so on one occasion, when I dropped by Shalom Hotel, where my sister-in-law was the manager, I confronted her. I said, I think you should just be honest with the church. You should lay your cards on the table and say who you are.
Correct.
Because it is unfair to our church for you to hide your real identity as members of the Communist Party. And then she refused to admit. And she said, we are not communist, we are only pro-poor. And then
Standard answer.
I repeated to her what General Secretary Maritza said in that burial, and she kept quiet.
So, Pastor, ikat muna namin kayo medyo mahaba para masummarize namin nila Ma'am Lorraine. Ma'am, gusto mo mag-interact? Pastor, prangkahin kita. Yung na-meet mo po ay hindi lamang simpleng mga NDF. Sila po ay mga members ng Communist Party. Ginagamit lang nila na kunwari NDF lang. Pero the way you describe the situation, Ma'am Lorraine, Brother Franco, mga kababayan, batay sa karanasan ko, yung mga nakaharap mo po mga kadre ng CPP. Ang underground organization po sa loob ng church ninyo ay CNL, Christians for National Liberation. Hindi po yan Communist Party, pero yan ay binubuo at pinamumunuan ng mga Communist Party, pero yan ay underground. Ibig sabihin, sumusuporta yan sa armadong pagkilos ng CPP, NPA, NTF para pabagsakin ng gobyerno itong CNL. In fact, founding member organization yan ng NTF, ang Christians for National Liberation. Nakakagulat, ha? Dahil ang kapatid mo, obispo, ang kanyang asawa, manager ng hotel na hawak ng UCCP, yung General Secretary ng buong organization na isang senior pastor din, ay mismo umamin sa isang pagtitipon na siya ay representante ng National Democratic Front. I think he was not just a representative pastor. He is, or he was, or until now kung active pa, andyan pa siya, si Marasigan, sinasabi mo, ay CPP cadre inside the church.
Kaya Marigsa, Will Marigsa, his current position is he is the General Secretary of the National Council of Churches.
NCCP. Ayun, Ma'am Lorraine.
NCCP.
Babalikan ko ito kasi every time ma-interview namin kayo mga pastors, ang dami niyong revelations na talagang bumubuga ng katotohanan, Ma'am Lorraine.
Pastor, thank you so much for for sharing this very, I can only imagine, very painful story, of your family.
My family.
Yeah, that betrayal, no?